Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon is we're going to have a lot of things to get into here on this Tuesday. We got a chance to hear from Bobby Petrino, which is why we're a few minutes late here on Inside Arkansas Live, but we're going to have plenty of clips and plenty of things to discuss and what the former head Hog, but the current OC had to say about the Razorback fall camp. We'll get into that. We'll also have who our heavy hitters are, presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Get to some summer topics of discussion presented by our friends at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas, which we're going to be there tomorrow live on Wednesday in Hot Springs, and get to all the things going on in the sports world. But fellas, how we doing? How are the vibes? How did we feel like Bobby Petrino performed here in his press conference, first one of fall camp?
My vibes are not as good as Bobby Petrino's, and I don't know how to feel about that. Does that man know something that we don't know? That was weird. A lot of smiles on his face. We got some driver's ed advice from Bobby Petrino. There was a lot going on over the course of the last half hour that I'm going to be trying to react to in real time here, but it might take me days to wrap my mind around what just happened.
I mean, seriously, we had a Bobby Petrino press conference, I kid you not, that featured him giving driving instructions, and he referenced blonde women. Was asked about his thoughts about Taylon Green's girlfriend for some reason. It was a lot going on, but awesome. Yeah, I think there was a point where John texted our group message and was like, I kind of don't like how much he's joking around. Like he had a lot of quips, a lot of jokes, and it's cool to see him happy and smiling. We really don't see that much. I'm with you guys. I don't know what to make of it, but the one thing we will talk about is he does seem to like his squad. He seems to think they're improved over what they were this time a year ago, specifically with Taylon Green. And so we'll see how that plays out. But hard not to feel good if you're the offensive coordinator coming off the scrimmage that his unit had on Saturday, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I know, again, we'll talk about it. We have a clip that Bobby Petrino spoke uninterrupted for over 4 minutes. And I'm just sitting there and I kept thinking, like, was there another question that I missed in the middle of this? Because I think Bobby, for all intents and purposes, he's not someone who likes talking, but someone who talks straight for 4 minutes plus usually is somebody that likes talking or doesn't mind talking. And that's what was weird. Yeah, the smiles, the kind of making jokes about him being old. It's like, I don't like that. I want Bobby to be, like BMFP, like we remember, like be that Bobby. That's the Bobby I feel good about, because when that Bobby's there, they were winning big games. So, maybe it's a new leaf. Maybe it's just Bobby in his older age. I'm not totally sure, but he is confident. He does feel good about it. I know, again, we'll get into the specifics there, but before we get into the specifics with the offense and everything there and talking about, the development of Taylon Green and going into year 2 and everything, just what would you say was the biggest takeaway there? Or maybe was there something that maybe surprised you guys, or something that you heard from the press conference today that was kind of like, did not know that, or was not aware that it was that good? Did anything stand out to you?
Man, it's tough to pick one thing with everything that he just said. I'll go big picture here. I think I kind of feel exactly the same way about this Bobby Petrino presser that I did when we got John Calipari last month. Because the thing that stuck out to me the most, I was just like, he seems so much more relaxed, so much more comfortable than he was a year ago. And that's exactly how I felt about Petrino in here. And he mentioned as much. He's like, hey, no, it's easier now. I've got my quarterback back for a second year. I can relax a little bit more at practice. He was saying all those things. But yeah, when I think about the smiles and the jokes and the stories he was telling, everything like that, which is wild. I was not expecting that at all, but it just goes to show that he's comfortable, and that's exactly what you need. It's what you're looking for. And it also tells me it's probably a pretty good indication that, I said at the top, like, does he know something we don't know? Seems like he's pretty comfortable with what he's got and where his offense is at. Like he said, they got plenty they got to work on and get better at. This is a week where, they've done all their install stuff, and now they're trying to really refine and fine tune some things before this next scrimmage. There's no doubt in my mind that Bobby Petrino feels good about where his offense is at. And if he feels that way, damn it, so do I.
Yeah. We always just kind of have to take these guys at their word. And so a lot of times we go to these press conferences, we hear them say things, and sometimes we can call BS on certain things, but it's always important to know how these guys feel and how they view each other, how they view the team. And he was very point blank and very obvious early on. He was like, yeah, we're way ahead of where we were last year. And he wasn't asked, hey, do you feel like you're ahead of whatever? He just said it. Now, does him saying it mean it's true? No, but it's good that he said it. It's good that he believes that. And of course, he spoke about the Talon thing. He also was pretty adamant that he was like, hey, it starts up front, and we just feel like we're a lot more comfortable, a lot more ahead of schedule up front on the offensive line, which is one of the bigger question marks of this entire team. And just kind of this offseason of like how much improvement really can we expect? Seems like he feels like they're better up front, which is going to make things easier. And you mentioned the year 2 with him, year 2 with Talon. Like having your quarterback back for a second year certainly doesn't guarantee that you're going to be a great offense, but it helps. Having your offensive coordinator in his second year, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be better than you were year 1, but it definitely helps. I think it goes the same way with the receivers coach with Fouch, who's now got some new pieces, but he's in year 2 of kind of teaching this offense. Colby Smith, the running back, who he referenced like 4 times in this press conference, weirdly enough, because he coached him back in the day, and he referenced that. Again, all these things by themselves aren't necessarily into the world, but you add it all together, and it kind of does make sense why there's a little bit more relaxed feel from Bobby Petrino as he's neck deep in fall camp. It feels like they feel better about their group overall. And again, whether that's true or not, we'll find out on the field on Saturdays in the fall. But I do think it's very important that they feel that way, and that's something they can tell themselves. That's something you can preach to the group. And I definitely think from a offensive, playbook standpoint, the year 2 Talon stuff, we've kind of talked about how big of a deal that is. And I know some fans have used that as the reason why they think Arkansas is going 9-3, 10-2. And I don't know if I'll go that far, but it's absolutely a real thing. The idea that you don't have to go there and teach your quarterback everything. Now you can rely on your quarterback to teach your receivers, teach your running backs, and relay those messages. I think Bobby even referenced there's times where he even kind of tells Talon, hey, I don't want to have to go tell this guy this. You go tell him. It'll mean more coming from you. And so I have no doubt that there's a lot more of that going on with this Arkansas offense. And so it makes sense. We'll see how much improvement that really leads to on the field, specifically in the red zone. But I am kind of buying a lot of what Bobby Petrino had to say. We'll just see to what extent the improvement really is there.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and hear from Bobby. And, again, there was a few clips here, and we'll have the press conference in full posted after the show today. But talking about the offense and being further along than what it was a year ago, it's a longer clip. It's a little over 2 minutes, so we may pause in the middle of it just to react. But here's where Bobby was talking about the differences as well as the offensive line and where they're at.
I mean, it starts with the offensive line. I feel like way more comfortable with the offensive line. Our size, our strength, our athletic ability. We got a couple centers that are we got 3 centers right now that are rotating in there playing really well. One's a true freshman that's extremely talented. So I feel good about where we are at center position. The tackles are doing a really nice job. We do have competition at the right tackle, E. Harris and Shaq, and E. Harris has gained weight. He's much stronger and more physical than he was a year ago. A year ago, he really wasn't tackle size. He went from 285 to 310, I think, when he weighed in. And you're seeing that strength on the field. Kobe and Blackstock at the right guard are good competition. It'd be fun to watch and see how that plays out. And then I feel really steady about our left side with Junior and Corey over there. So Corey's a really, really good football player, and Junior's at the right spot. Sometimes that tackle and his aggressive nature, his personality, is more suited for a guard than out there on the edge. And it's been fun to watch.
Okay, so just kind of looking at that perspective, he kind of goes through the whole offensive line. Not to say that it's new things that we didn't already know, but having 3 centers rotate says that they got there. But then the competition with Blackstock and Branham, he's like, it's a good competition, which again, it's like, it kind of feels like it's good competition because nobody's really taking that next step. But also the comment about Carmona, I think is funny because he is aggressive, as we know. And I guess I've never really looked at it from his personality, and what he does is better suited for that guard position than maybe the tackle. and Corey Robinson. So either way, just kind of going through the offensive line there, because that's what Bobby brought up of why he feels better about it, why the offense feels so much more improved was the offensive line. It's just funny to hear his perspective on why it is and why those guys at those positions are a lot better.
Yeah, a few things that stood out to me about that. Steady Eddie on the left side. Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly how they feel. They're just very comfortable with their options over there, with the competition that they feel good about, but still some stuff to figure out on the right side. I agree on the Carmona thing. Like if you're going to be, and I mean this as a compliment to Carmona, I do, but if you're going to be like a dirty type of player, you need to be deep in the trenches, man. You can't be out there on the outside where everybody can see you, up to your antics. So I like the idea of having him moved inside. He can get away with a little bit more. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Marion Harris adding weight there obviously is important. That makes him more suited for the position. It's not lost on me, and I'm not saying there's any controversy there whatsoever, in camp or this season. But he didn't mention Kittler by name, but he was really talking up that freshman there. And so that's not the first time that we've heard that, over the course of the last couple of weeks here. So it sounds like they might have something brewing there in the future at that center spot.
I mean, listen, we've said it 1,000 times, like the fact that you're a freshman offensive lineman and you're pushing for playing time at all, like you're even being considered, especially during fall camp, that's definitely something. Now I'm not saying that in a way of like, yeah, totally, we're going to have a true freshman center start week 3. Like I don't even think Hog fans should want that to be the case. You should want Caden Kittler to win this job and kind of take it for the year. And it seems like he will, but I do think that's very interesting. And I think Kittler's kind of the one that I'm not saying he's good or bad. I think he is just right at average. And so it's like, I think for this year, he's going to be fine as a center, but I think Hog fans can be excited about the future of Cash Courtney there. I think, again, we talk about this O-line and how much they need to improve. And all along, we've kind of said it's really just this right side. Like, we don't even really have to spend that much time talking about Carmona, talking about Corey Robinson, even Kittler, honestly. I feel like we don't have to spend that much time talking about him. It's really just those two guys. And on Saturday, it sounded like the right guard position was completely settled and right tackle was now the battle. You hear from Petrino, it almost sounds like Marion Harris has that right tackle spot locked up. And by the way, I do buy the idea. I mean, Marion Harris, he has gained some weight. He is now a redshirt junior. It feels like, if things played out the way they were supposed to, this would be the first year that Marion Harris would be a starting offensive lineman in the SEC. If Patrick Kutas doesn't go down last year, Marion Harris would have been able to spend his sophomore year kind of he would have been the number 6 guy, getting some reps here and there, but really just getting his body ready, getting that experience, getting ready to play in the SEC. And we just now be finding out about him. He was kind of rushed into action. And so I think Hog fans maybe don't realize what, he could be. I think Marion Harris is kind of the big X factor of this group. And then I think at right guard, you're likely going to have a redshirt freshman there in Kobe Branham, who we all like. I think that will be an adjustment period. But I thought it was interesting that Bobby almost had it flipped where the right tackle spot seems kind of solved and there's still, quote unquote, a competition at right guard.
Well, we'll play just the rest of this clip here, too, and get into the rest of it from Bobby.
I feel like we have a really strong tight end group, with our ability to run block and catch the football. Andreas has improved tremendously since a year ago. A year ago at this time, he didn't even know what a play was, what the playbook was. And he responded well to competition, instead of shying away from it, he's made himself better. And Platt's an extremely, extremely talented young man, the size and speed you want at a tight end in this conference. And then Rohan can, he has the ability to block like we need him to, but he can really run, and the speed he has at that position changes things a little bit. His ability to get downfield and go. So the front 7, is way better than we were a year ago.
So Bobby's big also on the tight end group, but it seems like more so on the blocking side of things. Not to say that they won't be in the passing game at all, but talking about that front 7, talking about Rohan and his blocking ability and what he's been able to do. And I know the Jaden Platt situation kind of has a little bit of familiarity there because of the Texas A&M deal, but that's kind of what I kept thinking about with this tight end group. Is not to say that they're not going to get any run in the passing game, but it just seemed like maybe they really tried to cater more so to blocking tight ends and having them help block and everything like that. So, just kind of hearing that from Bobby feels like that's probably going to be the case a lot this season.
Yeah, probably so. He was asked specifically a little bit later. I don't remember if we pulled that clip or not, but like about getting or making a concerted effort to get the tight ends more involved in the passing attack this year and how they could go about doing that. And he was just pretty bluntly like, "Hey, yeah, get open. Like if you get open, you'll get the football." And I'm sure that wasn't like a subtle shot at the guys who weren't getting targets last year or anything like that. But I think that was an interesting, notable statement that he made there. Couple things that stood out to me from that. Poske back. They said at the scrimmage that maybe he had a high ankle or whatever. I noticed that he was in fastball today, participating in everything, and so that's good to hear. Good to hear that he's made some strides. Sounds like Jaden Platt's really starting to come along. I know he had a nice reception in the scrimmage that they talked about, and he's been mentioned more than once. And then Petrino was talking about just how much he appreciated working with him at Texas A&M and the relationship they built and being able to carry that over. I know he's trimmed down a little bit. So that is a guy who production-wise, it doesn't match, like Luke has or whatever that you're trying to replace there at the tight end position, but they were in the same class together. And if I'm not mistaken, Platt was a higher rated recruit than Luke has was. So there was something there. Like it was talent. He's an athlete. And if he can come on along with Rohan there, then they might be onto something in that position. Maybe they do actually get a few targets there.
Yeah, Platt certainly looks the part. I mean, like I think he's going to catch a pass in the Alabama A&M game, and Hog fans are going to be like, "Wow, I love this guy, man. Of course, man, he's a stud." Hell, according to 24/7, he was a 4-star transfer. So, take that for what you want. But no, I really do think look, it's not like tight end is not. I know it's technically a complicated position because you're blocking and you're catching passes. I remember Barry Linney used to always say, tight end, you got to know the offense better than anybody. If you're a tight end, you got to be able to move around and all that. You need like 3 guys. You need 3 playable tight ends, honestly, depending on what kind of packages you're going to do. I know we like to talk about, are they going to run 12? Are they going to run whatever? And I think they might do a little bit of that, but really you need about 3 guys to give you snaps. Seems like they have those 3 guys. I think Poske is clearly, he played snaps for him last year, is going to be a guy that can help. Probably the best blocker overall, most experienced of those 3 guys. Platt has certainly the size to be an impact blocker and has some athleticism. He's kind of the wild card, but I think Rohan Jones is going to be the guy that if they were going to be scheming up opportunities for any tight end to get open, I think it would be Rohan Jones. He seems to have that athleticism. But yeah, I think the sense I got in Curtis, I definitely took it as a shot at Luke has. Why don't you just get open? If you want the ball, why don't you just get open? But I also think it tells you a little bit about their mentality of, why do I need to force feed my tight ends in my offense? Why do I need to make it a whole thing? Why don't I just run my offense, and if the tight end's open, we'll throw to him? I don't really think like this for this offense to be good. I don't really think it needs to be a thing where it's like, hey, we gotta get Rohan Jones 7 targets today. We gotta get Poske a red zone target. It's like, if it happens, cool. If not, we'll be all right. And I think that probably is why when they made that decision to let Luke Has walk, which as of today seems like a good decision since he's unavailable, I think that had to be part of their decision making. Is like, why would we care too much about what our tight end thinks or what we need to do with our tight end? Let's just run our offense, and if it happens, it happens.
Well, and to your point, because I know we'll move on into other things too, but you mentioned the thing with the Luke Has deal. Because I don't care if it's Luke Has or anybody, but when you have somebody like Petrino who's been coaching college football and been doing it at a high level and very successfully for as long as he has, and still to this day is being successful. And I'm not saying that this is what Luke Has did. I'm just using it as an example. If you're a young tight end or whoever, and you're going in and be like, hey, I'm not getting the ball. Why am I not getting the ball? Why am I not getting the ball? Petrino, somebody who is as confident and as just blunt and direct as he's going to do, he's just be like, well, it sounds like a you problem. Get open and we'll find you. It's just, that's the confidence that he has where, some people may say, oh, that could turn people off and players off, but that's just how he operates. It's like my offense is not set up to where if you're not getting open, that's a you problem. If you're not getting the ball, that's a you problem. My offense is fine. I don't need to cater nothing. I don't need to change anything for anything. And to your point too, Andrew, which I agree, it's not like Petrino goes in, it's like, okay, we got to get this guy the ball this many times and we got to target him. It's a very fluid thing of like, hey, here's the offense. If you get open, you're going to get the ball. If you get a route that works, you're going to get the ball. If you're running back, if you're going to get carries and you're going to be successful, you're going to get the ball. It's just as simple as that. It's a very democratic type of offense. If you perform well, you're going to get those opportunities and you're going to get it done. So I think that's a big case of it too. But I know we'll discuss a little bit of the wide receivers, which is a long clip, but we'll break it down a little bit because I think there's some fascinating things going on there. But I want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by our friends over at Hickey and Hole Law. Divorce and custody cases are far too important to face alone. But the thing is that they do a lot more at Hickey and Hole than just divorce and custody cases, although those are very important. But criminal, civil litigation, personal injury, estate planning, they truly do it all. And the biggest thing about them is that they know that the attorney-client relationship is so important, but it has to be based on honesty and trust. And that's what Hickey and Hall Law prides themselves on, and building those relationships with you, their client, because they provide you with that honest, principled advice and representation every single step of the way. They're always going to be with you. They're always going to be in contact with you, and they're going to answer each and every question that you have, no matter the type of suit that you're in. So give Hickey and Hole a call today at 479-434-2414. They have law offices across the state in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. Again, 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. You can also scan that QR code right there on the screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. Okay, so for Razorback offense and wide receivers, this is a long clip, so we'll see how it goes through. But one of the things that Petrino was asked about, the challenges of finding the wide receivers to put out there, those 3 wide receivers of XYZ. And I was not expecting this. I don't think anybody was. It's kind of weird that he spoke this long. Maybe he just kind of got lost in the sauce or something. I don't really know. But here's Petrino talking about those challenges of those wide receivers and choosing them.
It's a good problem. There's great competition. They're competing to get reps with the ones and reps with the twos. They're competing to get out there. So I think it's a good problem. We do need to, as we work through here the next 2.5 weeks, we need to find out who wants to be the go-to guy and who we're going to count on. And but it's really been good competition, at the X receiver spot. Blake's done a really nice job. He's way ahead of where he was in spring and playing fast and precise. He's got good hands, so he can make great catches, and he's got to be consistent and not drop the easy ones. That's just concentration. Monte's a different guy. One of the things that showed up with him is the testing from summer. When you look at his height, weight, speed, vertical jump, all these things are off the charts for a receiver, and you go, man, we got to get this guy the ball. And so we made a conscious effort at doing it, and he's responded great to it.
Okay, so I gotta say, Monty Harrison's back, boys. We're expecting big things.
John, we should be putting him on the no slander list, but you're the most guilty party of all. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Listen. But when Bobby says it, it's different. When Bobby tells me this, then suddenly I change my mind.
Well,
he's going to play.
We were kind of expecting. We went into fall camp thinking we were going to get Monty Harrison stuff. We really haven't gotten it a ton. How about Bobby being the one to provide the Monty Harrison Kool-Aid?
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. Again, he goes through almost every wide receiver, except for maybe Cat Savis. I feel like that's the only one, but we'll roll through this a few more.
Most yards receiving in the scrimmage the other day, and made 2 really good catches and runs after the catch. So that was really good to see with him. At the Z spot, CJ Brown has been doing a really good job. He's playing both outside and inside, and that helps us a lot because his experience, he understands the offense better than anybody out there. When you run the GPS and everyone sprints as hard as they can, CJ's faster than any of them. So he caught a really nice post route yesterday morning for a touchdown, which was great to see. But he also has such quick feet that he's good inside. And like I said, he knows the offense better. Sharp's had some good days, and I want him to play faster than he's been playing. He relies a little bit too much on his quickness, and that unfortunately holding is interpreted different ways. And he's got to be able to come off the ball and go, not just sit there and dance around, or he's going to get held, and they're not going to call it. That's just how it is. That's the nature of the position that he's in that slot receiver. I haven't seen a lot of Shanks. I wish we would, but he's had a little nicked up, and he was out there today full speed for the whole practice, which was good to see. So, we still learning about him.
Okay, so let's go through this. Looks like CJ is a very dynamic wide receiver. CJ Brown having him play inside and outside. Said I guess like top end speed and straight line for the GPS. He's the fastest out there, which is pretty interesting. But then kind of goes into sharp, which we know about. He's like, hey, he needs to play faster. He needs to play a lot faster too. So, again, this is when I start getting really excited when Bobby started going through these specific things. And I'd like to hear that though about CJ Brown, to where, he's being inside, but the fact that he can go in a lot of different directions and be a lot of different places on that wide receiver group, so it's that way if someone is not stepping up or whatever, he can kind of fill the gap there.
Seems like his pathway to being a starting wide receiver on this team is on the outside. So that was interesting to me. And I bet that's probably happening because Shanks has been out with that hamstring for a while. It's like, all right, we got to get some other guys some looks here. So we'll see what that winds up looking like. The Raylan Sharp stuff is interesting. It kind of reminds me of every time they would bring a track guy over and, no matter who it was, and it's like, we need to see that track speed on the football field. Kind of the same idea. I mean, obviously he's a very fast kid, but he's talking about relying on his quickness, dancing too much and everything like that. Maybe some things, and he was very, very productive, for Bobby, obviously at Missouri State, things you get away with there and not in the SEC. You're going to get held, you're going to get your head taken off. So it looks like that might be the adjustment for him, but he's kind of had a leg up on everybody outside of CJ Brown, because outside of CJ Brown, he knows the offense better than any of them. But that's good, because all we've heard is, how good and how steady and everything he's been. You get Petrino going, he just goes one by one through these guys. And it's like, okay, this is what they're doing well, but this is where they need to improve. It's fantastic stuff. And I love that he didn't have to be asked about every single guy to touch on pretty much all of them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was like, let me go ahead and beat him to the punch. On the Raylan Sharp thing, I think that's cool. One, because we've heard nothing but good things about Raylan Sharp. Like, he's always been the guy that we're hearing catching passes. He's the most mature guy. He gets open. He's Talen's favorite target. And I think it's worth noting, he is the one that has spent the most time around Bobby Petrino. I mean, he played for him for an entire season. There's a lot of familiarity there. So I think that was kind of Bobby knowing that he could, knowing that he could say that without it like breaking Raylan Sharp, kind of being like, hey, I want to keep this guy humble, tell him things he needs to work on because he's been hyped up enough. CJ Brown, I thought that was the most interesting part of the whole press conference, because again, he's a true sophomore who hasn't played a ton, but he, seems to be on a positive trajectory, but we just haven't heard much about like, oh man, CJ's the one that's tearing it up. I didn't hear about him coming out of the scrimmage of like, oh, CJ Brown made all these plays. I loved hearing that from Bobby, because it's, he might be the fastest player in the entire room, and he's playing inside and out. He's already working with the ones as a true sophomore. Like, that is notable, but we really haven't talked about it. I think he's an interesting one. And in terms of him playing inside, because I agree, Curtis, Cam Shanks not being there is probably the biggest reason. But if you think about it, Omega Blake's your starter on the outside, CJ Brown starting on the outside, and Raylan Sharp starting on the inside. Seems like Monty Harrison is number 4. And he's playing on the outside mostly. So it seems like kind of that's your path to getting Monty Harrison in the game, is going 4 wide and having CJ Brown kind of move in there. So I like the premise of that for sure. And I'm definitely not worried about Raylan Sharp in any way. And so like, I came away from that clip right there being pretty encouraged with what I heard, because I think CJ Brown is the guy that I've been wanting to hear about all fall camp. Like, I would feel so much better about this wide receiver room if I knew that CJ Brown is a guy they can count on.
All right, so we'll go through a few more of these wide receivers that Bobby has to mention, because there are quite a few.
We'll get to Cordy Crutchfield in 3 minutes.
Done a really nice job. He's so strong in the lower body, and he's improved his strength. He's made a lot of catches and a lot of runs after the catch. His challenge is to really know the playbook and not make a mental error. And when he can do that, then he's going to be in there making plays for us. Jay Brown is the fastest guy out there. He just keeps getting better with the understanding and his quickness and going. Our big freshman has got unbelievable talent. He's got to learn the style of the SEC and know how to go full speed every play, but that'll come with maturity. He's a competitive guy, and he's shown the talent to make a lot of plays for us. He just hasn't quite learned that I have to go full speed every single play and go. Andy Jean's a guy with good.
Sorry, before we get to Andy Jean, because that's the Antonio Jordan thing that, everyone's been bringing up with him as a freshman. I think that's well put by Bobby, and hopefully people understand that is like he's got all the gifts, but this is something you have to go 100% of the time, all the time, in every practice and in every play. Like you can't. Not to say he's been loafing, but it's a little different from coming from small high schools in Arkansas. And if you're just an athletically gifted person, sometimes you don't have to go as hard because it's like, I'll just beat all these guys because it's no big deal. But Bobby's like, no, he has to understand that this is the SEC. You have to go 100% of the time, all the time. And that's what's holding him back a little bit. So
I like that. It's the poo sandwich,
Yes.
You challenge him a little bit on, hey, this is where you need to pick it up and figure it out, dude. With he's incredibly talented. Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Now he's been making some plays, but so I like that. That was good. Jaylen Brown, fast.
Yep.
We keep hearing about him. Fast, got burners.
Yep, fastest on the team there. All right, a few more here.
Good ability, and we've liked how he runs after the catch and his route running. So, like I said, it's really good competition out there. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Crutchfield's come along. Crutches, when he first got here, he was so out of shape that it was like, man, is this guy ever going to be able to play for us? And then he lost 15 pounds, I think it was, in between spring ball and now. And he's faster and he's competitive. He needs to get in the playbook, make sure he doesn't make any mental errors. But the last 3 days, it was great to see him make plays. He had a great play in the scrimmage, caught a ball, broke a tackle, ran it in for a 30-some yard touchdown. So it was really nice to see that.
All right. So Cordy Crutchfield, huh?
How about the honesty from Bobby that admitting that in the spring he wondered if Courtney Crutchfield would ever play? Like he just straight up said it. And obviously there were reasons why he came in out of shape, which, we didn't know for sure what was going on in the spring, but hearing him say that now, it makes the vibes that we got in spring ball make a lot more sense. Cause like anytime you ask anybody about Courtney Crutchfield, it'd be like, yeah, he's out there. It's like you never got like he caught a pass last week. Yeah, he's doing this. So it kind of makes sense. And, we'll see. It seems like he's lost some weight, starting to try now. Good, but everyone that keeps asking about Courtney Crutchfield, it's like, dude, we're not just like lying when we're like, he's not really in the mix for playing time at Arkansas. He wasn't in the mix last year at Missouri. He wasn't in the mix this spring. He's still running with the threes. Now it seems like he's starting to ascend. Maybe he can get to that second group. Maybe he can get into that Jaylen Brown, Andy Jean type of range, but it seems like he's still a little bit behind some of those other guys, maybe kind of battling for wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8 type thing.
Yeah, he was the 10th wide receiver brought up by Petrino there. And it was interesting. He was like, hopefully I didn't forget anybody. And then he immediately was like, oh, it just made me feel like maybe KP was in the back and just held up a crutch. It's like, hey, don't forget. Mention him. But yeah, I did see, and I wish we would have seen it before we started recording on Saturday, that he did have that touchdown reception. It was against the threes, but hey, we've been waiting, for him to make a play or whatever. I didn't realize he had I shouldn't say weight issues, that he needed to get in better shape, and trim down and everything like that. So I'm with you, Andrew. I thought that was fascinating. It kind of, I don't know, answer some questions or shed some light on it, because we were like, what the hell is going on with this kid? We'll see what comes of it. But at the end of the day, when I'm, no disrespect, like when I'm hearing the true freshman wide receiver mentioned first, when I'm hearing Cross Johnson mentioned first, the 2 guys who got here in May out of the transfer portal mentioned ahead, it's like, yeah, you still got a pretty steep hill to climb to get on the field, a whole bunch there, bud.
So, okay, I see this comment here from Brady, our resident Sunshine Pumper. He says, why all the Antonio hype from the coaches, and then they put him with the third string? Well, let me clarify this for you. The hype about Antonio Jordan did not come from the coaches. It came from a handful of media members and fans. If you ask every time the coaches talk about Antonio Jordan, it's the same kind of sentiment. I remember when what's Ben Souders' name? Whenever Ben Souders was asked about him, he was like, yeah, he's a really good freshman, hard worker, but like there's work to be done. You ask Pittman about him. Oh, we love his athleticism, big, strong. There's work to be done. Bobby was just not asked about him, but was going through him. Yeah, he's really big, really talented, but like there's work to be done. That's been the message from the coaches all along. That's also been the message from us who are relaying what the coaches say. Everyone else has been trying to tell you guys, oh, Antonio Jordan's a 5-star. He should be playing right away. He might be wide receiver 1 this year. That was all a myth that was created out of thin air. And so to clarify, it was not the coaches who were like, yeah, we're going to start this guy. He's a 5-star. That came from elsewhere.
He's also he also missed the entire spring, or I didn't miss the spring, but like he wasn't enrolled, and that just puts you behind anyway. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me to see that. I'm glad you clarified that. Can we pull up that chat again? Let me pull it up real quick. Is this different?
It is different. It's a different
Okay.
font.
Okay, cool.
StreamYard's screwing up again, man.
It's like, yeah. Okay.
Just can't leave stuff alone. It's like, just relax and
it's every day, man.
Yeah, I know. Every day it's like I get a new notification, except fixing the things that actually, I care about, and that would be nice to fix. But either way, yes, it is different. But we'll have some more from Petrino and everything. Want to remind everybody that we're presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they're changing the game when it comes to healthcare and the way it's delivered by providing those mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. Okay, so speaking with some of this, okay, I'm going to bring up, I know there'll be some other things too, and we'll get to your chats too, folks. But this is something that just, one makes me laugh. This is about the VR headset, because I knew I was going to get asked about it. There's some comments in here that are pretty funny, pretty interesting, but pretty funny. So let's take a listen to Bobby.
That was my first thought. He looks like Darth Vader when he puts it on. So
Star Wars reference from the jump. Ellis, you have any thoughts on that? Any feelings?
I couldn't believe it. That was another moment where I was like, I can't believe Bobby is in this kind of mode today, man. He's just riffing. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
So no, he came in and told me he had a conversation with the quarterback from the Generals, and he told him that he felt like it really.
And it's not the Generals, just
that was awesome.
Team that loses to the Harlem Globetrotters. Is that who he's referring to?
Yeah.
Also, Jaden Daniels, by the way, Heisman winner and Rookie of the Year, and superstar, the quarterback from the Generals.
Of all the things he said that gave me a chuckle today, this was top 3. That really got me, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say either that or the Sentinels from what was it, the Replacements? Like just all the Washington teams get mentioned there.
They helped him take a step from his junior year to his senior year, or it might have been his sophomore year to his junior year. I don't know how many years he played, but so we looked into it. Coach Pitt was great about going and being able to get it for him. They've worked extremely hard with it. I think the number one thing I'm seeing showing up is we've tried to really focus and concentrate on wide vision, being able to see the whole picture, and then you go to close vision to make the throw. I have a little bit struggles with like KJ, because KJ didn't take driver's ed. So he don't know anything about aim high and driving. He didn't know anything about keeping my eyes down there, and I see all this stuff. How do you get a license and don't go to driver's ed? I don't understand that.
Okay. Okay. Listen, Bobby, I get the joke, and he's having some fun, which is still weird, but driving, man, I just don't know. I just don't know.
I'm just so, my heart is full. I'm so happy that he did this. I have increased my win projections for Arkansas by 1 victory this year just because of this. Fantastic stuff there about the driving. And he's got more come. I don't know if we have the clips or not, but just phenomenal stuff. This was epic. I'm so happy, man. I'm just so happy about this.
I don't love it too. Just give me all the out of context stuff we could just make for Bobby Petrino and just posting these little things, and it's going to be great.
But they taught me that aim high and driving. You won't hit everybody out there. So that's what
except the ditch.
We're trying to do as a quarterback. We're trying to aim high and driving, and then see what the coverage is, and then zero in on our progression. And you can take the thing and go like this and all the way around 360 and do it. And then when you do a play, you can see where his vision is and what he's looking at. And, like there's a few times KJ drops back and he's looking in the stands at the blonde on row 3. And like, KJ, what are you doing? And the defense is over here, man. So they work hard at it, and it's fun. We have fun with it too. It's something that's unique, and
it doesn't matter what the rest he says, man.
That was
really care about the VR.
Much? That was wild.
That was nuts, bro.
Also, I would pay if this is a real thing. I would pay money to be in that quarterback meeting room when they pull up the video and they're like, "All right, let's see KJ's rep here on this 3rd and 7," and he's just like dialed in on. Sorry, like that's crazy.
Dude.
Oh, that was just tremendous stuff. That would be epic too. You just
I think Bobby may have hit the pin before he went to this press conference.
It was impressive stuff, dude.
I mean, I was not expecting it was not on my bingo card of in a single answer, Bobby referencing driver's ed or driving as well as a blonde. Like, I'm just like, no way. And you know what? If I thought even higher about Bobby and his ability to be, kind of that type of guy who thinks that ahead, I'd be like, oh, he did that on purpose. No, he didn't. He did not. He does not think like that. That's not where his mind goes of trolling people. So I'm just like, the fact that it was an accident and all in the same, that's just perfect. That is so perfect.
I'm still in a pretzel, man. And I think I'm going to be, there's zero doubt in my mind that I'm going to watch this no, not the full thing because he rambled a lot. I'm going to watch that clip probably every day until the start of the season. And I'm definitely going to do it on opening Saturday morning before the season kicks off. I'm getting up and I'm watching that clip. And I'm going to get a big smile put on my face and I'll be ready to go to war. That was incredible.
Do you think there was a moment, whether it be during the press conference or afterwards, where Bobby thought about it and was like, I should not have said blonde girls? You know what I mean? Like, there had to be a moment where he was like, oh, because I'm sure he will now. Someone will bring it to his attention like, yo, did you say something about blondes at the press conference? There's going to be a moment. I wonder at what point he realized, like, oh, I probably should have said that.
It'll depend on the media that was sitting there because he's facing all of them. It's like if it was us, and let's just be honest, we all kind of looked at each other and been like, oh, if anybody in there did that, he probably saw it and was like, oh, dang.
I think it would have been the best though if he would have said, looking at if he's talking about here over there looking at a blonde brunette girl there over there. Like if he would have corrected himself, because then he would have been like, oh no, I can't do that. As long as it's brunette, it's fine. But the blonde. If he would have referenced a neck brace at some point, then I really would have been like, all right, I can't do this.
His eyes weren't moving enough. It's like he's wearing a neck brace looking at blonde girls.
He's not getting his head around. I'm just like, stop. I can't do this anymore, man. Can't do it. But that was wild, man. That was absolutely wild. And again, it's people feel their own way about Bobby, and I think he's probably heard every single joke known to man. But he made some jokes. He smiled a lot today, and I want to be happy about that, but at the same time, I just don't know. I really don't know. But again, there's a lot of clips that where he just mentioned some fun stuff, and I don't know. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of like a good comparison. It would be Nick Saban making jokes. You're kind of like, what are you doing? If he was the head coach, it's like, what are you doing, man? It's like, it's okay to have a funny like little thing unintentionally, but to be like, if I saw Nick Saban smiling and talking about Darth Vader and talking about oh, I don't look that old or whatever, it's like, man, it's about you okay? It's like everything there, you good? But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm going to choose to believe that Bobby Petrino is now at the peak of his powers. I mean, he went from trying to TKO Travis Williams on Saturday to dropping these very, very ironic one-liners at his press conference. Like 72 hours later, he's dialed in, man. He's feeling great. A little cocky, little swagger to him. I'm on board.
Whoever the offensive players were that are going right now, right? Or the press conference, I guess it just happened. Whoever the two offensive players were, honestly, they probably should have been asked and been like, hey, you think Bobby P's lost his fastball? Is he still the mean green coaching machine that he's been? Or is he kind of lightened up on y'all a little bit? Because I think they would know. Because the players will know. Like if they're like, oh crap, we no longer have to fear this guy. They know.
Yeah. Well, according at least to the file that they uploaded, which we're going to get and have the press conference, it said quarterbacks. So I'm wondering if it was maybe like KJ Jackson, and I mean maybe
I wondered if they might send KJ. Which, by the way, we haven't talked about KJ a lot, and I know Bobby just made the joke about him. I'm loving everything I'm hearing about KJ Jackson so far.
Yeah, it was Taylor Green and KJ Jackson were the two.
Oh, good.
Okay, good. I like that.
Yeah. So we'll wish we could have to watch that, and if anything really crazy came from that, we can react to it tomorrow. But so that's That was that. And before we move on, just real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and play. It's a short clip, though, just about because the Mike Washington stuff is still a thing. So I just want to hear what Bobby had to say about Mike Washington and the comparisons of Nile Davis and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I can't believe I didn't find him last year. That makes me mad. Bad job. Bad job coming out of Buffalo. We should have found that. But so first of all, he's nothing but serious. Okay. You know, I don't even know if you can make him smile. But he came in here and wanted to learn the offense and know everything. Like I told Colby Smith when he was a freshman, if you don't protect the quarterback, you don't play. Mike's a great pass protector. His size, his strength, his knowledge. He's a great pass protector. He's 226 pounds. That is super fast with good vision. And, you know, he's going to be able to break long runs where we don't have to line up and call another play. So that's exciting.
There you have it. It's exciting. It's exciting.
You know what I don't understand is I've seen a number of our colleagues or whatever who have been doing the thing of they're not talking about Mike Washington enough.
Yep.
People are going to learn Mike Washington's name. He is the story of camp. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's just another notch in his belt of the preseason Heisman campaign. It's nuts. We aren't doing this. We are not driving this hype train. It's being driven for us. We're just on board for the ride here. I mean, it's unbelievable. The amount of praise this kid is getting. Hope he's awesome. That was gold right there at the beginning from Bobby. He was like, bad job on my part, not getting him last year. Sheesh.
Yeah, I love that. I'm with you, Curtis. I could not believe my eyes when I saw multiple people in the media that were like, not enough people are talking about Mike Washington. It's like, brother, we do a daily show. We talk about Mike Washington every single day,
Mike
and for good reason. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, I feel like we've definitely, the pendulum has swung the other way. And again, like we've covered this 1,000 times now. I have no problem with it. Like, I think Mike Washington clearly has made quite the impression. Seems like he had 200 yards to the scrimmage, a couple long touchdowns. I'm all for it. I loved hearing Bobby talk about him because, I mean, listen, we can give Mike Washington our stamp of approval. The players on the team can give Mike Washington their stamp of approval. The one that's going to give him the ball, giving him his stamp of approval, means a little bit more. And so it's not a surprise, but cool to see Bobby join in on the fun and understand that this is the summer of Mike Washington, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that was what is just fascinating. If anybody ever says no one's talking about so-and-so enough, maybe search real quick of seeing if anybody actually is. And then before you say that, because I never understood that. I'm like, dude, my brothers in Christ, there's no other player that has been talked about more than Mike Washington, at least from the Arkansas perspective. Not one single one, because we hear about him. Well, I mean, for crying out loud, we probably, if we talk to the, what's his name? You call him Juice Box down there. Probably the first player he would mention in a press conference would be Mike Washington, man. Mike Washington. It's like the nutritionist would probably first mention Mike Washington. I mean, every single coach has talked about Mike Washington.
Taylor Green was talking about his Bosu ball routines.
Yeah.
I think you could make a much stronger argument that we've talked too much about Mike Washington than you could that we haven't talked about him enough.
That's right. That's right. And so before we get to some chats and some other things too, just part of our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. You can go and shop them online at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. As they have all the Razorback apparel in stock right now, getting you ready for the football season. Johnny O, Southern Tide, Columbia, Peter Millar, Tommy Bahama, all the great stuff. Use that code HOGS20 for 20% off at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. Very simple thing just to see where the fans are and in general about Bobby Petrino. Like, what grade would you give him in the job that he's done so far at Arkansas as the offensive coordinator? A, B, C, or D? I'm actually pretty impressed with Razorback fans because I think it's fair. But 71% said B. They give him a B grade. 19% say A, 10% say C, and nobody gave a D. So, sorry. Pause. But no, it was pretty on brand for because I think B is fair. I really do. I think a B grade is fair right now.
Me too. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. He even mentioned, like some of the turnover issues they had last year that cost them games. We talked a lot about their ability to move it between the 20s, but then, finishing drives with points and stuff like that. So good job. The offense was improved. They had their moments. Areas to get better. right? So I think I'm right in the same spot there. B seems fair to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're grading a job that someone has done, I think the important context is what were the expectations? What should they have done? You know, if you ask someone to do X and he does Y, you know, what does that mean? And so I think if you look at what Bobby's 1 year as Arkansas's OC, what were the expectations really? And I think none of us really knew a good answer for that. But I mean, you had Talon Green, a quarterback who was very, very unproven this time last year. I mean, you just look at his resume; he had essentially been benched at Boise State. So I don't think there was like this expectation of like, oh, Talon's got to be awesome. Jaquinton Jackson, I think we were all pretty high on, was probably a guy that we expected good things. And they had some pieces. I mean, Andrew Armstrong, of course, a returning receiver, to Slaws playing in the NFL. Like, we felt like Arkansas had a decent core there with a receiver. Offensive line, they basically built the O-line through the portal and then lost arguably their most talented one for the season in Patrick Kudus. And so I think going into last year, if you had expectations for Arkansas to be like a top 4 or 5 offense in the SEC, I don't know how that would have come about. You know, I think them being one of the better yardage offenses and maybe middle of the pack in scoring is about like what they probably should have been. And, you know, you could even make a case there were times where they were even more dynamic. So I think B is probably, I would maybe go B- if we're doing it that way, just because, again, I felt like there was some couldn't finish in the red zone stuff going on there. But I thought it was about what it should have been last year. This year is really going to be the test, though, because I mean, this is kind of now that you've got year 2 of your quarterback, you've got year 2 with some of your offensive staff, and you feel like you've got some improvements on the offensive line. You got something with Talon. Now's going to be when we can really find out about this offense. But I'll go B- for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll go B as well. It just seems to make the most sense at this point in time. So, but we'll have our heavy hitters here in a little bit. Got some other stuff to talk about as this John Mateer thing is pretty wild. What's going on, man? But let's stay with it because we will get into that. But a few of your chats, though, as we've been talking, like Carter says, could it be that he thinks, Bobby, the O-line is better because they're going against a bad D line?
I mean,
that potential does exist. Yeah, that potential does exist.
Yeah, but I will go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. We might have been about to say the same thing. I do believe that there's a pretty general consensus that Arkansas's offensive line will be improved. Like I think that there's confidence in that and reasons for them to be confident in that, especially on one particular side there. The whole thing about going against your defensive line is you just don't know how much. And so that's the question.
Yeah. Well, and for me too, I look at it from, again, and I'm a Petrino guy, but it's like Petrino's been watching and coaching football for a very long time. And I'm sure that he's had times, even in his tenure, of bad defensive lines or bad offensive lines and vice versa. And I would hope, again, my hope would be that he could tell the difference of, is this offensive line just really good and at the things that they're supposed to be good at, or are they not very good, but the defensive line is just that much worse? Like, I'm hoping he is able to identify the difference between the two.
Well, do y'all remember last fall camp when we were having a pretty similar discussion and Bobby Petrino met with the media and was like, yeah, I love Carmona. I think he's doing a great job, but he's like, man, he has a tough time blocking Landon Jackson. We don't really have anybody that can block Landon Jackson. I remember that being a talking point where they were like, oh man, like he's kind of shown us our weaknesses as an O-line. I don't think Arkansas has those guys. I mean, Cam Ball's a great player. I think Quincy Rhodes is going to be nice, but like, I don't think they are getting a really prominent SEC test from their defensive line. And so I think this is kind of valid, honestly.
Also, I know this is sarcasm, but Nep is saying, is it looking like Mike Washington's going to be the starting running back? Haven't heard much about that. Yeah, apparently no one's talking about it.
Being a little funny here, you know. And he said this before we even did the discussion, by the way.
Yeah, he did. And he did talk about Braylon Russell today. We can't pull up every single thing that he said and react. We'd be doing this for 5 hours today, but he did talk about Braylon Russell. And one thing that stood out to me about that is he said over the summer he was sending Mike Allstott clips. You guys hear him say that? Yeah. Like that's the kind of back he wants you to be. Like, dude, you need to be the guy that turns a 2-yard run into 5. You got to be the hammer, not the nail. A bunch of cliches, a lot of one-liners in there with Braylon, but he said some good things about him.
Yeah.
Maybe Braylon Russell is the one that's not being talked about enough. It damn sure ain't Mike Washington, though.
No. And in fact, if you don't know who Mike Washington is, then you're just not paying attention to Razorback football in any frame. Like, if you've not heard his name, then you just have not. You've literally tuned out the entire world of Razorback sports. Just plain and simple. Let's see. Steven says, I still believe Petrino has it in him to put it together a really good offensive schemes. when they came into Fayetteville with that small school, he can do more with less. I do believe in his potential. Which, okay, and here's the thing, Stephen, is I do agree with you 100% for sure. However, let's still look at what Petrino's offense has been capable of. A lot of the players that he always had, at least when he was the head coach at Arkansas, were still really highly regarded big-time recruits. Like Ryan Mallett and Tyler Wilson were very big quarterback recruits. Jarius Wright, Joe Adams, Greg Childs, Kobe Hamilton. Those were high-end recruits. DJ Williams was a high-end tight end recruit. I know as a Houston Nut player, but still. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm sure Bobby would prefer to have 5-star talent to work with than just going into the 3-star talent hoping to make something out of nothing. So, but I feel you, I really do. And then I don't know if it's sarcasm. I guess you highlighted this, Andrew. It says that's rich coming from Andrew. If Brady is the resident sunshine pumper, then Andrew is the resident Debbie Downer, doom and gloom spreader. It's true.
Listen,
that's what he is.
I just want someone to list examples of times that I've been over the top negative about something that wound up to be like I was wrong about. And if you can find an example of that, also, because I would say Mike Washington might be an example of this, but I've come around fully. Anytime I'm wrong about something, I'm like, all right, listen, I'm wrong. I was very negative when when Mike Washington committed. Me and Curtis did the stream, and I was like, this doesn't really seem like a great pickup. And now since then, and we haven't even played a game, I've been like, all right, listen, he might be better than we expected. When has there been an example of a time where I've been over the top negative and been like unwilling to yield and like change my opinion based on evidence? Because every time people say this, like last year, I picked them to go 6-6 and everyone bitched about it. And then they went 6-6. And it's like, I feel like most of the time people just complain about this. And then there's never really an example that they can point to.
I mean, I know you were very negative on the Razorback baseball team, saying this team wasn't any good and not going to Omaha. So I do know that. That's what you do.
I can face those allegations all day because I get the sunshine pumper in baseball all the time, which completely fair. But I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get to more of your chats. We'll have more of your questions to get answered, folks. But let's go ahead and jump into who our heavy hitters are, presented by HD Roofing and Construction, because we know storms can hit at any point in time. It's been nice this summertime, but even though when the weather will come in the state of Arkansas, you just never know what to expect. You never know how strong it may be. You never know any of these things. But a lot of things you may not know is your roof. And if it's in good enough shape, if it's ready to take on those major storms, well, how about this? Let HD Roofing and Construction check it out for you, because they will give you a free inspection where they rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for each and every one of your recruiting needs or your roofing needs. So you'll be able to check them out today at hdarkansas.com. That's hdarkansas.com. You can also call them today at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. It's HD Roofing and Construction. Okay, so I'll start off with my heavy hitter, because I'm going to have some fun with this. All right. My heavy hitter's Houston Nutt.
Oh, wow.
Because he spoke to Missouri.
Truly the best days of your life. And don't take anything for granted right now. You got something coming that it can be something real, real special if everybody takes it to another level.
That's it. Houston Nutt spoke to Missouri football, and I saw and I laughed, and I'm just, people are just like, oh, John, I can't wait you're probably just so triggered in speaking to Missouri and the Eli Drinkwitz thing and everything. I'm like, listen, yeah, it's like I hear that clip and I'm like, golly, if I haven't heard that a billion times of that same stretch from Nutt. But also, too, I'm going to give a shout out to Eli Drinkwitz as part of that heavy hitter, because the dude knows what he's doing. You talk about not thinking Petrino doesn't know when he's trolling or not, because it's, Eli knows that dude is doing it all, and I respect it. He's getting Houston Nutt to speak to Missouri. Why? I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, but what the real reason is, I think, is just because it's taking shots with Arkansas and the Arkansas connection and people who love Nutt and everything like that, and then putting it out there on social media and everything to go along with it. I respect it. I think it's lame because it's Nutt, and these are the best days of your life. Best days of your life. Yeah, we know. We've heard it, but still, I respect the fact that there's a brand of the trolling that Eli Drinkwitz in Missouri does with Arkansas fans, and I can't help but respect it. So that's one of my heavy hitters.
Well, John, hopefully you continue to kind of come around, because we're just one regime change away from Houston Nutt giving that preseason speech to Arkansas football instead of Hunter Yurachek.
Stop.
I mean, we're almost there. So
Stop.
You might as well start opening up to the possibilities now, my man.
Stop.
Listen, I don't know if there's a reason. Like maybe they're on the Walmart staff together. I'm sure there's a reason why Houston Nutt's there or whatever. And I'm with you, John. I will tip my cap to Eli Drinkwitz. This is epic, trolling and your gamesmanship. I don't even really have a problem with Eli doing this. Houston Nutt, what are you doing, dude? You're dead to me. Like legitimately dead to me. Like I don't know if Houston Nutt ever planned on coming to games or being a part of the fan base or ever wants to be on. All that's out the window for me. I don't know if maybe I'm overreacting. Like, why is he doing this? I don't understand why he's like, because I feel like this puts the nail in the coffin of him ever being one of our guys.
Well, I think my theory is that one, maybe he got paid, and two, Curtis, maybe you can correct me. Did his brother coach on the Missouri basketball staff? Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Is he still on there? Because I know he had some.
I think so. He had some health stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I was like, maybe there's that connection or anything, but I don't know. Because I mean, how many schools have you seen get Houston Nutt to go speak at him? Like how many? Like that's what I was laughing about.
Houston
I'm like, okay,
needs to understand. And like, listen, Houston's a grown man; he can do whatever he wants. He needs to understand the weight, though, of like, if I go do this and speak to the Missouri football team, what that says and signals to the Razorback fan base. It just signals you're not one of us, which is fine. You don't have to be one of us. But I kind of secretly always thought he was one of us, and that when he was 80 years old, he'd come back and we'd all stand up and cheer for him. I really did think that. I'm being dead serious right now, too. I thought he was kind of like secretly a hog and like cheered for us.
Been trying to tell everybody. Dude transferred to Oklahoma State as a kid, went to Ole Miss. I'm just saying.
Listen, and I've been giving you shit for it, John. I've been kind of thinking you were weird for hating Houston Nutt because I was like, dude, he gave us all these great moments and all these great quotes. Like, deep down, he's a hog. He's not a hog. Damn.
No, he is not.
Isn't he getting ready to be at a Razorback function?
Is he going to the touchdown club?
I don't know if it's a touchdown club, but it's. I think I saw DJ Williams, like I don't know. Oh. He's doing something.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't know specifically what it is, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Wasn't there? He was at the Arkansas basketball game when John lost it this past season.
Yeah.
But wasn't there an ulterior? Like there was a reason that was not Razorback basketball related that he was there. Was that the Mizzou game and he was there for his brother? Or okay.
Yep. Okay. So again, but yeah, all hog. This guy's all hog. Get out of here with that crap. So
yeah, no,
I'm wear red.
I've come to the light, John. I'm just letting you know. I've come to the light.
Thank you.
I don't want to see him ever again.
I got one. So, Curtis, what about you? Who's your heavy hitter?
Hang on. Let me look and see which ones I had. Okay. No, I'm doing John Mateer. I got to do John Mateer. Okay. This entire thing is hilarious to me. First of all, I don't know what the opposite of a heavy hitter is, but whoever the people are who went through this dude's Venmo transactions from like 3 years ago is just absolutely insane. But it just the whole thing cracks me up with Mateer. What kind of sicko bets on USC UCLA football games back in 2022? But it was a good time to bring it up because we knew that something was going to come of this. So now we've got a statement from him. We've got a statement from Oklahoma. So this happened while we were in the middle of the show. John Mateer had to put out a Twitter statement. The allegations, and I understand the whole allegations aspect of this, but like it was your Venmo, dude. You put that there. If it was a joke, whatever. But I mean, people are supposed to take it however they want. He says the allegations that I once participated in sports gambling are false. My previous Venmo descriptions did not accurately portray the transactions in question, but were instead inside jokes between me and my friends. I have never bet on sports. I understand the seriousness of the matter, but recognize that taken out of context, those Venmo descriptions suggest otherwise. I can assure my teammates, coaches, and officials at the NCAA that I have not engaged in any sports gambling. And then OU follow, that's a little bit hard to see, but it says OU Athletics provides ongoing education to its student athletes, coaches, and staff on matters related to sports gambling. The department utilizes Prohibet, like prohibition or prohibit, but Prohibet, which is an industry standard service offering comprehensive monitoring of sports gambling activities. OU takes any allegations of gambling seriously and works closely with the NCAA in any situations of concern. OU Athletics is unaware of any NCAA investigation, has no reason to believe there is one pending.
My take on this is that John Mateer is an absolute moron who does not deserve to play football at the in the SEC this fall. And I'm being dead. Like, how can you be? Now, it was 3 years ago. He was younger. You are a moron, dude. Why would you admit that you actually did make those transactions and use those descriptions? I literally, when I saw it, I was like, this has to be a Photoshop. There's no way. I think if he had gone that route, it's been like, yeah, it's a complete fabrication. Like, I never sent those, whatever. Like, I'm sure they could have found that somehow, but I'm like, so he's admitting that he did Venmo his buddies and use those descriptions. That is, and you're like, but I wasn't gambling. I just used sports gambling and put in parentheses the game that we were betting on. Dude, I don't know. That's a tough one. So, like, literally, I used to have a bookie that I would have to Venmo for stuff. If I used actual words and was like sports gambling, my bookie would have blocked me and been like, never do that again. Matter of fact, I actually saw my bookie at a wedding and I was like, hey, it's my bookie. And he like grabbed me and was like, shut up. Like, you don't do stuff like that. Putting it in the transactions in parentheses, the game. What a moron. I really don't. I can't believe he admitted to it too. That he was like, yeah, no, that actually was me, but it was an inside joke. What?
I think it was impossible to deny it after how many people like went and found it because he had it all public or whatever. So, and then he wound up deleting them all. Maybe that had something to do with it to where he was like, I can't not say, or I can't say that this wasn't a thing. I don't know, but
I don't know how technology works either, in terms of how they're able to track stuff. But yeah, also on Venmo, every time you pay someone, you get to choose public or private.
Yeah.
It's like, why did he not think like, I don't know. That's crazy, man.
I was going to say that tells me that either he just like was an idiot and doesn't understand how Venmo works, or it really was just kind of harmless, didn't think anything of it. It's like, whatever, I'm a kid who's going to be looking at this. It would have been easy enough to be like, oh no, I just had a bet with my, my buddy. It's like, oh yeah, UCLA is going to win this game or whatever. They didn't, I paid up. But the specific term sports gambling is what I keep getting stuck on, where I'm like,
put the game in parentheses is so funny to me, bro. I've never seen anyone do that.
Yeah. Now, did you guys see like some of the other people kept going through his transactions and some of the screenshots of those?
No,
I can't say on air here because it's some wild.
Wait, John Mateer had some other ones?
Yeah. Non-gambling related, but like questionable.
I've seen some Arch Manning Venmo transactions. Have y'all seen those?
No.
he Venmo'd one of his buddies and put za. And so everybody's like, oh, they're eating pizza. And then some are like, oh, Arch Manning doing weed. It's become a thing. Arch Manning had some funny ones. I got to be honest. Arch Manning might be the guy.
Yeah. Well,
I was an Arch Manning hater for a while, but the more information I find out about him, he seems like the man a little bit.
I'm just laughing because I think about the specifics of it. It's just be like Venmoing somebody to be like crack cocaine in a pipe in parentheses. It's like, okay, just very specific right there.
This honestly was this is a huge day for sports betting stocks, because, and I sent this to Andrew, to you, John. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Michael Porter Jr., that interview, that he should be the real heavy hitter, honestly, because he was getting interviewed and he was just like, we all have our vices in life. Like for my brother, John Tay, it was is betting, is gambling. I never really got into that vice. My vice was women. And he was like, my brother, not so much with the women. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen, where he just like portrayed himself as the ultimate ladies man and threw his brother under the bus for being a degenerate gambler.
Jeez, man. Like that's nuts. Just, it's like, I just hot chicks, man. It's just, I couldn't help it. I was just obsessed with hot women. My brother over here, he was addicted to like tentacle porn, man. Like I didn't get it. I didn't understand. It's like, what? Like, why are you doing that, man? I did not hear that. That's insane. That's insane though. Like, golly.
Also, it's like funny to be doing interviews about this. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, my buddy was gambling a little bit. Your brother was banned from the National Basketball Association for gambling on himself. Like, that's a little bit like, and then to be like, oh yeah, it's the same as me sleeping with women. It's like, well, a little bit different. Yeah. By the way, I did find the someone named Will Randall paid Arch Manning in 2022 and used the 8-ball emoji. Well, game of billiards for the boys that went south, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, that makes sense.
Who plays 9-ball?
Exactly. Yeah, even Arch Manning's playing 8-ball. I mean, come on.
Still one of my favorite Ellis's quotes, man.
Oh,
All right, so Ellis, who's your heavy hitter?
Are y'all a fan of, I don't even know this young man's name. I've seen him going viral for a lot of things, but are y'all a fan of pass block sets after a night on the town?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I always enjoy it.
He's good. He's fucking good, man. That jog at the end, that's a pro jog right there. I love this.
Earth.
I love the big guys that do the pass block sets.
I love the dude in the background. He's like, he's good. He's effing good, man.
Because you guys, we already know how that story went. Is that they were all having a good time, and this buddy of his just be like, dude, have you ever seen Marty's like pass protection, yo? Like, have you ever seen them do this stuff? It's insane, man. He could play right now. And they're like, oh, no, man. Hey, Marty, let's go outside. Let's go outside real quick, bro. Let's get him to show it.
First of all, lose the shirt. Yeah.
It's just like, dude, it'd be funny if you did without your shirt on, like in practice. He does it, and that's where he comes. I told you, dude's good. Like, that's exactly how that story went. 100%.
Bengals fans have found this video, and they want him to play right tackle for the Bengals.
I love that.
We'll see if he gets that job. I actually saw one time there was this guy who was a very large gentleman, and he was doing a gender reveal with his wife. And as soon as it blew up and it was blue, he started doing the pass block set. I was like, that's great right there.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see. Thought I had another heavy hitter. No, I can save it for a later time too, because I did maybe we'll bring it up tomorrow, just kind of depending on everything. But I thought it was funny with actually, you know what? Screw it. We got some time. I'm just going to play this real quick. Carmona on Paul Feinbaum yesterday. I just liked his honest opinion about if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Cliche. It's older than me, which is hard to believe, but that there's holding on every single play. I'm not asking you to out you, but what's the fine line between doing your job legally and not?
Yeah, no, there's definitely holding each and every play, but I'm also a believer that if you're not trying to cheat, you're not trying to try. And so,
I like that, by the way.
as an offensive lineman, you got to hold, you got to tug a little bit, but you got to do it in a way where the refs don't see it. And I think all offensive linemen can attest that, it happens each and every play. It's just about if you're sneaky with it and if you're able to, get your hands inside, they won't call it.
So that's all I wanted to play is just the honesty. I appreciate that. Just the honesty. So if just I look at it as if Carmona gets called for holding this season, folks, he was.
He was
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Did that go viral with Texas Tech fans?
I wish it did. I don't know. Maybe.
Are they finally over it? So,
I'm sure they've forgotten about it, right?
I hope so, man.
Listen, by the way, he's 100% right. Like if anybody thinks that's like a weird thing. Also, when they teach you, like if you get your, like he said, if you get your hands inside, like anything like this, the chest protector right here on the shoulder pads, you can basically grab that. Mm-hmm. And as long as you're keeping the guy close to you, but it's when that guy goes to run the other direction, you have to let go then. So like you said, every single play there's holding, but you just have to let go when the guy goes to make his move. As long as you're chest to chest with him, you probably should be holding, honestly.
Yeah, I like this from Evan. He just says Carmona's voice does not match his body.
It doesn't.
Yeah. It doesn't. That's fair.
And the way that he plays, like Bobby kind of talked about it. We're talking about it now. It's got some edge to him, got some stuff to him. We saw him before we ever really got to talk to him in a press conference setting. Was getting ready to fight the entire linebacker room at his spring practice, like his first year there. And then you listen to him, it's like, wow, this dude is actually very well spoken. He's smart. I agree with that assessment 100% from Evan there. Does not match.
Nope.
Him and Cam Ball are like, and Cam Ball has a little bit of a deeper voice, but like personality wise, you hang out with Cam Ball and you're like, this guy like has a mean streak to him, but it's like, when you get between those lines, you just are a little bit different.
Right.
Yep. And if I ever hear an offensive lineman or defensive lineman or whoever, just a large individual have a high pitched voice, I'm immediately not going to think they're any good. It's like just if it's like a high squeaky voice, it just ain't it. It just ain't it. All right, so we'll get to more of your chats, folks. Also, our summer topics of conversation presented by our friends at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Tomorrow, Hot Springs, and all you in the Hot Springs area, we're going to be live from the Hot Springs Marina right there in Hot Springs, because we are going to be telling you all about Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. We're going to be doing it at the marina itself. There on the dock, we're going to be outside, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So come hang out and come see us. It's at, of course, I just had the address in front of me, and I just lost it. But I'll tell you about the address here in a second. But either way, it's going to be in Hot Springs Marina. You can put it in your phone, and you can look it up that way because you have technology and whatnot. But it's going to be awesome. From 12 to 2 tomorrow, we'll be there. We're going to tell you all about it, have some giveaways, and have some good, cool setups. And it's going to be awesome. So come check it out as they help you out with getting you the boat lifestyle, but without actually owning the boat. They take care of it. And if you want to learn more about it, just go to freedomboatclubar.com. That's freedomboatclubar.com. Again, live from Hot Springs there at Lake Hamilton at the Hot Springs Marina for Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. All right, guys. So for the topics of conversation for the chat and everything, just this could be pretty basic stuff, but like, what's your favorite Razorback or broadcast call in Razorback sports history? Just doesn't have to be like the greatest one because everyone's like, no, 1994 national championship. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying like one that just kind of always sticks out to you randomly or because of what you were doing or anything. What was your favorite Razorback broadcast call? Also, too, it could be national or local. It doesn't have to be just, the local call.
I mean, I play it every single morning for the people at 6 a.m. It's the intro for the Pot at the Palace. After that Gonzaga win, it was absolute unabridged electricity in that place. The call of the hog, baby, can be heard all the way in San Francisco. That's grown on me so much. Here's how you know it's a good one, because I do have to listen to it every single day because I play it every day and it hasn't gotten old yet. And that's why I know I'm in love with it. And there's other ones that are great from years past, but I connect it to my experiences and being there and being in that moment. And I always think about Eric Musselman had some great moments of like celebration and everything, but everybody remembers it's clear that they're getting ready to beat Gonzaga and he's just on the sidelines. And he's like, it's just really weird. But then you wind up getting that call and it was incredible, man. That one's my favorite for sure.
So I guess I also have to go with the intro to my podcast, which some people might not know this because it happened in the off season, is now, oh no, battles deep into the night. I mean, that's a classic. I mean, we brought it up on this show at least 7 times because that's how much we love it. John, I'm going to ask you because you would know. I don't even know the play that this is the call from, but what's the one where I believe it's Eels that goes, Keith, I saw it, but I'm not sure I believe it.
That's Chuck that did that one.
Is it Chuck?
Yeah.
I thought it was older than that.
No, that was Chuck 2000 and it was the 2010 LSU game when Kobe Hamilton scored before halftime. At least
really? Okay.
Yeah,
that was way more recent than I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, now I bet Paul Eels may have said the same thing. Like, it's a pretty kind of generic thing. So maybe he said the same thing, but that was one I do remember was that play for Chuck Barrett saying it.
I don't even remember what Chuck said in the moment. I'd have to go back and listen. Actually, I should because I went back not that long ago. But the Brady Toops home run, I feel like I was also listening to the game via radio. So it's like the broadcast call meant a little bit more. Him calling the Brady Toops home run is like such a moment in my life that that's always going to be up there for me. And I don't have a long list of these, honestly. Yeah. I thought about it a little bit. I can't think of the specific calls as much, but I'm sure you've got some bangers queued up for us, John.
Yeah, I'm like just the nerd in me because I was in radio for a long time. I always think about where I was. Obviously, Curtis, like the one, because it's one of my favorites because it's Jim Nance saying it.
Yeah.
The dude's iconic, one of the best, and just how perfectly executed. The fact that he knew exactly how many miles Fayetteville was from San Francisco, and just the setup of it, and I think he says Fayetteville is 1,833 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco. I mean, just like absolute perfection. So it's hard to beat that one.
You hit me with it was like I think it was right after baseball season. You're like, hey, summertime, if you guys want to do any refreshes to the intros or whatever, let me know. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. Well, it's still the same for a reason. It's because that one's just awesome.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great. Also, too, the like a few other ones just randomly. I'll say I guess in baseball side of things, the balls battles of the Grand Slam. I mean, that's hard to beat. It was a horrible ending to the call. Like it was a great start, but the horrible ending because people just remember that. Oh no, battles. It does that, and he goes has left the stadium entirely. It's like, all right, it's okay, all right, but not going to hate on it. But Like that's great. I still, any of the old Paul Eels and Mike Now. I mean, Paul Eels with the touchdown Arkansas in the LSU game, Miracle on Markham Part 1 was always great. That one will always be with me too. So, but as far as another national broadcast too, one is with McFadden and Uncle Vern Lundquist when he takes the 80-yard touchdown against LSU in 2006. It just say goodbye, Darren McFadden, 80 yards touchdown. Like just again, broadcasters. It seems powerful, man. If you nail it, dude. You got to nail it.
Is Vern underrated, low key? I feel like Vern like a staple. Like I feel like people complained about Vern and Gary Danielson a lot, and I was like, man, I love them on the call together. I just thought of one that's good, and I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was when Joe Adams ran back that punt and he hits the Houdini is in the house, and he's wearing number 3. That
was Mark Jones. That was Mark Jones that did that one.
Classic.
Yeah, because he was also the other one of he wasn't the one saying it, but was when McFadden had that 80-yard run against South Carolina to go for 321. He had the bye, see ya, hold on, Matt Ryan, D-Mac not looking back. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? That yeah. Again, you think about these plays, it's just great. That's why because there's been some turds of broadcast for major plays. Like I still think the Hunter Henry heave, one of the worst calls on a national broadcast you'll ever hear. It like awful for one of the craziest plays. Yeah. They're just like, oh, it was a incomplete. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a lateral pass. The ball's still live. It was bad.
And then whenever the play ends, they thought that was still the end of the game. They thought it was like had to get to the end zone. They were like, oh, and Ole Miss hangs on. I'm like, no, they didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. All right, so food and entertainment real quick. Food wise, guys, because it's a filet mignon day today, but we're all steak dudes. We're men. So what is the best cut of steak in your opinion? And also, how do you like it cooked?
I think it's one of the more volatile because like if you screw it up, it might suck a little bit more than the others. For me, it's really, really hard to beat a medium ribeye from somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very particular about it because I do think they're easy to screw up, like especially with the fat that comes along with them and everything. Like they can be not so good. But if you do it right, the flavor, I can't put anything on top, I don't think.
I'm glad you pointed out that like it's one that it's not one you can't go to every single steakhouse and get a ribeye and it's always going to be good. It can be hit or miss, but a ribeye, whenever it's done well, amazing. I mean, I feel like filet is the go-to one here, and I love a good filet, and I get that medium rare, of course. I think the most underrated cut of steak is the New York strip. I just love a good strip,
man.
You don't have to mess around. There's it's not as small as a filet or a sirloin. You get a little bit of length to it, but it's also like not got all this fat everywhere. I love a good sirloin.
Yep, I'm kind of with you on the T-bone and sirloin. I mean, again, any cut of steak I'll eat, but yeah, there's just something where I wasn't big on the bone-in steaks for a long time, but because of the flavor that it adds anytime, and as long as it's done right, it's hard to beat. I always have them on medium. I'm not one of the medium rare guys. I know people are just like, oh man, did you keep your panties in your purse too, you girl? It's like, yeah, that's just like, sorry. I like my steaks at medium with a little bit there. And then, I think the bone-in weight is the way to go, but you can't go wrong with a steak. I mean, let's be honest.
Have you guys ever done the tomahawk, the big tomahawk steak?
I haven't actually.
I never roots. I want to do it so bad. I never have either, but every time I see them or I'll find an Instagram reel or somebody just holding it by the bone, throwing it on the grill. I'm like, God, man, I got to do that someday.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. And then last one here, entertainment wise, just who's the most overrated artist or band in your mind? The most overrated?
Florida Georgia Line.
Great call.
Yeah,
great call.
Pretty awful.
Yeah, that's a good one. So again, I'm just going more off of where these people are rated. You know what I mean? And so it's like if you just base it off of that, and for that reason, I have to go with the latest guest on the New Heights podcast, Taylor Swift. It's not that Taylor Swift sucks. There's been plenty of Taylor Swift songs that I've jammed to. I grew up, my sisters listen to Taylor Swift all the time. I'm not even saying she sucks. I'm really not. I actually think she's talented. She's got some good stuff. But based on the level that she is perceived at, she is the single most overrated act of all time.
That's a great take because I agree where, yeah, she is good. But like, just seeing the people freaking out over the stuff that's going on like today, I guess I'm just like, I just want to die. Just get me off social media. But anytime something happens, it's like, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But
you guys aren't big fans of her hopping on her own boyfriend's show to release the album.
It's shameful, is what it is.
no, I don't even think they hang out together. I don't even think it's real. I think it's all just for pub. But that's just me. Either way, Bruce Springsteen is mine. Never got it. And I love music of all generations, of all type and everything. I do not understand Bruce Springsteen love. Dude is just so overrated. And I don't get it. Like there's some people that will list him among like Mount Rushmore of like single artist or guitarist or whatever. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Him and Bob Dylan both. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, okay. So like, they're fine and everything, but Bob Dylan can't sing. But he sung all the time. He sounded terrible. So that's mine. And I'm not taking any of these Beatles nonsense of being overrated. Shut up.
It's not the Beatles, dude. I see people say that a lot. The reason why it's not the Beatles is because so many people say they are the most overrated of all time. So I'm like, if everyone thinks they're overrated, are they overrated?
Like, I don't want to go on a little diatribe here, but still, like the Beatles were together and made all their music like in 6-7 years. And that music is still used in crazy ways today. Like, come on. Like, you could say they're not your favorite, but don't overrated. Come on. They changed
there
everything.
There are a lot of acts from like, or artists from back in the day that I can't even really comment on. It's not that I'm unaware of them. It's just that like, I haven't listened to their full you know what I mean? I haven't really given them, like, I know a couple songs and I'm like, I'm just never going to go back and listen to their album from 1973 or whatever. But the Beatles is one that like, even from a kid, from being a child, I remember a lot of their songs. And if you like more than 3 songs from someone, it's hard for me to call them overrated. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, a few chats before we roll out of here today. Smitty just says, Curtis, you remember when Jaguars football team seen that Florida State Seminoles coach Bobby Bowden speak?
I do. It was and I had forgotten about it until you brought it back up. I can't remember what grade we were in, but we all got loaded up, had to put our football jerseys on, like you would on game day, like you wear the football jersey and your blue jeans or whatever. And they loaded us up on a school bus and they took us somewhere. I can't remember if it was like Wynn or Forest City. Maybe it was all the way to West Memphis, but randomly Bobby Bowden was speaking. So it was like every high school football team within a however long radius. And everybody was doing the whole thing. And yeah, it was, I do 100% remember going to that and not really understanding why we were doing it at the time. But yeah, it was a very interesting thing and it did happen.
Curtis, what year was that? Because I also have heard a Bobby Bowden speech, different setting a little bit. But what year was that? Because I wonder if we got him on the same tour. This was, who was there with Bobby Bowden?
It was early 2000s, man. Like it was probably like 2003 or something. 2004.
Okay, I probably saw him a little bit after this. You know who was with him, John? I don't know why it was like a dual. They didn't speak together. It was like an event that they both spoke at. It was Bobby Bowden and Jacob Hester in Pineville, Louisiana. They came and spoke, and Bobby Bowden, that is one funny effort, dude. He was cracking us up. He brought the house down, dude. It was like a stand-up comedy special, and he talked a little bit about coaching and what makes him great. But this was when he was retired, and this was like right before Joe Pa, I think, passed him in wins. Man, he was so funny. I remember as a kid, like coming home from that and thinking Bobby Bowden was the coolest guy ever.
Yeah. Also, before we get out of here, Hickory Hawk says John's love for Bobby Petrino is equal to his hate for Houston Nutt. You are correct, 100%. It is there. It is strong. But I promise you, Bobby Petrino ain't speaking to Missouri. I can tell you that. And then also, Mr. Bloodline says, Inside Arkansas, why only 2 sides for the BMFP? Sure, are you guys not running any more of that skew? Well, I'll tell you this personally. It's because we sold out. I might order some more. We'll see. But I just don't know if people really are into the BMFP stuff as much. But if you, Mr. Bloodline, if you'd like to DM me your size, I'll see if I have something available for you to make happen. So there's that. Also, JD just says Georgie Strait mid.
Worst take in the chat today. George Strait is the most overrated. Yeah, the guy who dominated country music for 15 years. Yeah, that guy. What are you talking about? Sometimes I feel like Jesse James still trying to make a name.
Yeah. Yeah, it ain't that. That ain't a
George Strait. Bro, I don't even like country music. George Strait is not even close, bro.
Yeah, it's like saying, like, yeah, Frank Sinatra's overrated. Okay. Sure. Like, why not? All right. Any final thoughts, guys, before we roll out of here for today?
Yes, I do have a final thought today. Happy birthday, Trace. Even though John has shamed you for the whole SAU thing, we still appreciate you. And I don't know if you're in here today or not, but happy birthday.
Good on you. You know what's crazy, Curtis? Yesterday when we were doing the whole Trace bit, I was like telling myself, I'm like, remember to do that for your final thought tomorrow. And I did not. So I'm glad that you did. So,
well, good on Michelle for reminding me.
She's good. She's good for Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle is so good about that, of just having her finger on the pulse of everything. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of knowing who's
Keeps me in
sad,
line.
who's happy, what, you know, she does a great job keeping up with stuff that idiots like us cannot do.
Yeah. So shout out to Trace.
Yeah. I don't have any final thoughts other than I look forward to seeing you guys on a boat tomorrow.
Yep. It's going to be awesome. Freedom Boat Club, Hot Springs Marina in Hot Springs tomorrow from 12 to 2. And also, just to go into the Trace deal, I told him I would not remember. I admitted I would not, and I told him to remind me, and he didn't. So just saying, I at least was truthful up front, be like, I am not going to remember. So that's on you if you expected it, because it shouldn't happen that way. But either way, it's all good, though. We're going to be at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas at the Hot Springs Marina tomorrow. Hot Springs, come and see us over there in the Lake Hamilton area. So that'll do it for us. Appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching, and be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Check out all of our podcasts and audio versions, whatever their podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. You can also check us out on social media at Inside Arkansas. And that'll do it for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson. I am John Neighbor. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon, live from Hot Springs Marina with Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.